1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's clapping. That's how the kids do it. Kids these days, they don't know how to clap sync.
No.
They don't have to do that anymore.
Back in my day when I created podcasting in a room with Kevin Smith and Chris Hardwick, we used to clap. But kids these days.
Well, now you just have soundboards. You just have to press the button for a clap.
They have these newfangled devices.
Remember back in the good old days where we had to use Skype? That's how we did it. The good old days, like 2 years ago.
Or
been like 2 years.
Really good old days where they had to do actual phone calls and then they'd have to route the phone call into the CPU so they could pull out the audio. That was
terrible. Always sounded like somebody was like, well, even with Skype, it sounded like somebody was like recording through like a garbage bin in the rain. And it was like, oh, cool. Those fun times. Well, speaking of fun times, what's up, fandom? My name is Josh, and today I'm joined by two very special guests. I have Liam and Brittany DiCosimo.
Whoop whoop.
Hi.
And possibly Remy DiCosimo and
oh yeah, Winnie is definitely in here.
Well, see, it's like you were going Winnie, and I was like, I just go with AON just because it's easier. It's Lord of the Rings-ier. So
I love that it's easier for you. For everybody else, it's not. I love AON and I love that name so much, but every doctor's appointment, you just know it's our turn because they come out looking at the clipboard like,
oh no,
I'm gonna butcher both the first, and I can't even go with the last name because I'm definitely gonna butcher that one as well.
Right, it'd be different if the last name was Smith. They could be like, is Smith here? And we're like, yeah, we're here. But they're like, oh man, Diskoskomoski. We're like, no, try again. We'll sit there too. We'll let them suffer.
Yeah.
Like we'll let them give it one or two goes, and then we're like, ah, yeah, it's us.
See, I would be worse. I'd be like, do you mean DiCosimo? You know?
Yeah. Just
rub
it in the
them.
face.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's what I mean.
That's all right. We were enrolling Remy in school, and the person kept referring to him as her. And Brittany just let him keep going for a while. And she was like, anyway, so my son. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. She's like, no, you're fine.
That's a unisex name.
Yeah.
Get it.
So yeah, we're going to be talking about Stranger Things season 4. Is it the last season? No, it's not.
No.
We thought it was.
Should it have been the last season? No, should have been the season before.
Oh,
it's going to be one of those shows.
What? No.
Yeah, you wanted this show. You wanted the series to end. Spoiler alert! With Hopper trapped in Russia. Come on, dude.
No, I wanted the series to end with Hopper dead, and then the series. No, just kidding. No.
Heartless, bro. Heartless. Like no, but then we don't get shirtless buff Hopper. So
that's real.
That would have been a crime against humanity.
We went through season 1 to get season 4. Hopper. Yes.
We got Chunkamunk Hopper for multiple seasons.
Down for that
and then we get Hunkamunk Hopper.
I like it.
Like well, yeah.
What,
bro?
We need to be fair though, he wasn't buff for Red Guardian. That was the best part.
Yeah, he actually gained, I think.
Weight. Yeah, he like gained weight to just be like a big beef stick, and I dug that.
Oh, nice. Did not know that. I also didn't watch that movie. Go figure.
Oh, I assumed. I assumed.
Bummer.
That'd be like asking if Josh watched the live action Mulan. Like we just know he didn't.
He did.
I'm just kidding.
We talked about it. No.
For your information, sir, I didn't watch it. There was no Shang in it, so I was like, nope, not gonna watch it.
Wait a minute. There's no songs?
I was gonna say the lack of a musical element was definitely what turned Josh off to it. He was like, there's no
Donny
music?
Osmond, is it coming back?
Yeah.
If they would have brought Donny Osmond back, I would have been there in a heartbeat.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's the only season of Masked Singer that Josh has ever watched. So I mean, it makes sense.
He doesn't even know what you're talking about.
Donny Osmond was on Masked Singer?
Yeah, the first season.
Season.
Did he win?
Alert.
No. Spoiler alert.
Wait, he did it?
No.
Who won?
Are you sure?
100% sure he didn't win. We know who won.
Yes.
Who won?
Yes. It's been years. Was it T-Pain?
Yeah, it was T-Pain. Won.
Gross. I'll pass.
No, it was
dude.
surprisingly good.
Yeah.
That's why nobody knew him, because auto-tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
nobody
really?
could,
Okay. Because
nobody could pick him out.
I only know like auto tune pain. That's the only one I know. So
Yeah, but that's why it was dope, was because he used his real normal voice, and people were like, the guesses were so far off, it was hilarious. They're like, Jamie Foxx. It's definitely Jamie Foxx. And then season 2, it's another person that has a somewhat amazing voice, and they're like, it's Jamie Foxx. It was not Jamie Foxx.
It was never Jamie Foxx.
It's never been
Still
Jamie
hasn't
Foxx.
been Jamie
so
Foxx.
is Jamie Foxx like, it's lupus? Is it kind of like that same thing with House?
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. Now they have like a swear jar, but it's for every time they guess Jamie Foxx, they have to put money into the Jamie Foxx jar. So
I like that. That's good. Yeah. So what we're gonna be talking with Liam and Brittany. They are the biggest of Disney fans. Anything that company does is good. Anything that company comes out with is good.
Not necessarily
Ooh,
good.
Not necessarily. I recently found out that there was an old like 1950s Disney animal documentary that showed lemmings jumping off a cliff into water, and it came out that the producers were pushing them off to like push the narrative that they were jumping to their deaths. And I was like, well, that's not a good. Disney definitely got a black eye on that one.
Did you just find that out?
Yes, TikTok.
Oh, wow.
TikTok learned me a lesson.
Wow,
Yeah,
because people have known that for like 40 years.
well, no, that'd be like.
Wait, when did we start caring about animals? That's when.
That's true. Well, for me, it was 12. I mean, so that's what, 118 years ago.
The world is a
Well,
collective.
and I mean, dude, like me finding that out is like when an evangelical finds out that God doesn't exist. It's like that moment of clarity that they're like, oh, I've been a dipshit for so long, and now I know the truth. Like it just eventually things come to pass.
You're killing his ratings.
Yeah, by half our audience
and listeners.
See you later. Jeez.
They were, hey, come on, dude. If they're watching Stranger Things, they're already off.
You're right. Well, I mean, I don't know. There could have been that fringe group that were like, you know what, that Eddie Munson character, he is up to no good.
Yeah, right. They stopped watching that season once they realized that they're the villains in this season. They're like, oh crap, we're actually the bad guy. Are we the baddies?
We like it.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like if you watched, the newest season of The Boys, and you were like, "Wait a second, the parallels here are very strong."
Or if you watched
that yet.
No, we haven't watched any of The Boys. But if you watched Multiverse of Madness, you were like, "Oh, we're trying to take bodily autonomy," and they're literally chasing a character named America.
Yeah.
Like the character in red, dressed all in red, that has red witchy magic, that wants to steal children.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, you can't paint it more clear than that this was the girl in red and the dude in blue, but also wearing a red cape because he still holds some of the red values, are battling over a character named America. Like, come on, man. You can't paint it more clear than that.
Crazy.
I mean, you could paint it a little bit more clear. You could just straight up go and be like, "Hey, kids,
this character, we're changing her name from Scarlet Witch to conservative to GOP."
Oh man. Yeah. So Stranger Things. So we've got our Stranger Things. We'll talk about the upcoming live action Hercules later.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the live action Stranger Things, and I was like, that's been every season.
We will talk about the new animated Stranger Things that's coming out. It's a spin-off. Actually, there's a spin-off, but I don't think it's animated.
I was gonna say, I don't think
it's animated.
I'm pretty sure they said live action.
I hope you're ready for this.
Sorry for the background music, but Winnie is dancing around to Steamboat Willie. You're welcome.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Well, with the Duffer Brothers, they're doing Death Note. Are you excited for that?
Well, aren't they getting licensed to do like a whole bunch of different things? Like, isn't that part of the deal? Is that they're going to get a bunch of stuff?
Yeah.
Winnie, no, baby.
But do you want? Are you ready for a Death Note? Because I know you're a big fan.
I loved the animated series. I do think even the animation went a little bit off the rails. But I still thoroughly enjoyed it because I like finite series. I like animes that have a concrete ending, not the ones that, go on for,
20 seasons.
Well, like Naruto, right? I loved like the first 99 episodes, and then the 121 episodes after that were basically just filler. And then they were like, let's do a companion series to this. And you're like, is there a point? And they're like, absolutely not. And you're like, so it's Dragon Ball. And they're like, absolutely. So I think I'm pissing off a lot of your listeners today, just so you know. But I think like Trigun, right? Like I really loved that it was 26 episodes, very concrete, and it ends. I loved Badlands Rumble because it was kind of like the same thing that they did with what was the Cowboy Bebop one-off, like the 22 and a half episode? Yeah, just the movie, but they called it like Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Yeah. So
like I like things like that where it's, hey, this is still an adjunct episode that occurred within the series. Like that's fine. I think with Death Note, if they're doing another live action one, I don't know if you really need to do that because they've already done that in Japan, where they've done multiple live action movies that were pretty true to the original manga. So I don't know if we really need another Americanized one since the first one fell so flat. So I don't know. I mean, I trust
if they were like, hey, we're gonna do Death Note, but we're gonna do all Japanese cast.
Yeah.
Like, that would be interesting.
But they won't. They're gonna set it in Indiana.
It's the tougher part. It'll be Indiana. No, if anything,
they will have a Japanese fleet.
I mean, I hope so. Like,
I think they would.
Because I think, I don't know. Maybe they have a little bit more cultural sensitivity. But like the first one, like we're gonna set it in Seattle. Nobody wants anything set in Seattle.
Well,
even people from Seattle.
People who are a part of this one were not a part of that one.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know, dude. Are you excited about it? Like, I know you've watched one or two anime before.
A couple. I've seen all the classics. No. I know the big three. No, but I like my audience is like, I don't like tournament anime. So if it's got like a tournament in it, I hate. Like I just hate it all. Like Dragon Ball Z got a tournament, not a fan. Naruto tournaments, not a fan. And I watched a crap ton of Naruto. Like back in the day when that was airing, like, and you had to go through like not reputable sites in order to watch your episodes of Naruto.
No, I had my wisdom teeth pulled, and they did like a Naruto weekend, like leading up to the 100th episode or whatever. So I just sat there for 3 days straight just watching Naruto, which is probably why I am the way I am now. It's burned out my cerebral cortex.
Well, dude, it's one of, and I don't know, like anime now, it's so accessible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know, but like Prime just dropped a crap ton of anime. They were just like, we've been sitting on these for a while. Here you go. Here's like 120 anime for you to watch on Prime. And then, you've got Netflix. You can buy manga at Target now. That's a new thing. So yeah, it's just weird how the world works. You've got Crunchyroll, which is the most garbage app of all time. So I mean, there's that, but
well, I feel like you gave me your login for Crunchyroll like a couple of years ago, and I think I think
I gave it to you to Funimation.
Oh, maybe it was Funimation, but that one, it was weird because like shows would crash. They would have like the first 5 episodes would be subtitled, and then after that it would be dubbed, and then it would go back to subtitled, and then it would miss an episode, and you're like, why is episode 12 gone? And they're like, you don't need it.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's the fan service episode, and they were like, well, we don't want to air the boobs, and I'm like, you guys don't put nipples on them anyways. What are you worried about?
Well, they do now. They do now.
They do now. I know the 80s where everybody was just like an amorphous blob. Yeah, everyone was Barbie and Ken. Yeah.
Except for Outlaw Star, one of the first ones where you were like, oh wow. In the
was that the one where
anime.
they did like the hot springs
episode?
Yeah, they did the hot springs episode.
Okay, apparently this is a thing.
You
guys both
hot
said
springs
hot
episodes.
They always will do like a bathhouse, a hot springs, a jacuzzi, a beach. There's always one scene that for some reason the whole cast is going there, but like the dude is dressed in like a scuba suit and every girl is in like wire thin bikinis, and then those even fall off because reasons.
At
like that
point,
was just anime in the 80s.
Going to fall off. Like that is just the way that it works. At some point, something will fall off. That's just
like there.
Is it?
The boobs are too big.
100%. Like this child has been portrayed as a 12-year-old, but now she's in a bikini. Yeah, because before she was always in like loose fitting clothing, but now she's in a bikini and you're like, that's not appropriate, even a little bit.
She's aged for this episode.
Like, you know how there's rule 42, like anything and everything can be porn now on the internet. That was the 80s for anime. They were like, don't worry, guys, we'll get you the fan service episode. It always happened.
Oh, goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's and even
so Stranger Things.
Even to this day, we still have it. You know where we don't have it? Stranger Things. No fan service episode in Stranger Things.
There was.
Different kind of fan service.
100% there was still the fan service. You had the Hopper and Joyce scene. Yeah.
Hopper and
Joyce.
No,
you had the Hopper shirtless scene. We're like, okay, because we needed to know that. I mean, I did.
I did. Come on. Because now I'm going to channel Hopper in the audiobook. So I'm like, oh, this is my Hopper voice.
So Stranger Things season 4 starts off with all of our kids in different places. Real quick, you know what I did notice that I thought was really good? You being from both currently residing in California. So all of the kids, have you noticed what shoes they wear?
Well, they were all in Vans once they were in California.
No, weren't they in Converse?
They're all wearing Converse except for Max. Yeah. Max, who's from California,
still wearing Vans.
Sporting the Vans. Everybody else still wearing Converse the entire time.
Yeah.
Max sporting those Vans, and I was like, it took me 4 seasons to catch that.
You gotta love those details.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good. But yeah, so that was my biggest takeaway from this season was Max wears Vans. So that was that's the only takeaway you needed to have. I mean, in the amount of times she gets lifted in the air, you're kind of like, oh, her shoes, I see them now. Exactly. You're like, oh, hey, I don't know. No. So spoilers for here on out for Stranger Things. I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I'm really sad that they brought her back. Like I honestly think it would have been way more powerful if she would have like died. I was not a fan of 11 pulling a Jesus and being like, I shall raise you from the dead, type of thing. I thought that was a bit to me, like when they're crying, I was like, oh dang, they killed Max. And then 11's like, not today. And she like puts her hand out. And I was like, nope, I hate it. Like, I was like, if she's still alive when everybody wakes up, I'm gonna be pissed. And she's alive. And I'm like, I hate this. It's so dumb.
See, I hate it, but I don't, because I kind of do. I did like that she brought her back, but she's not there. Like she basically brought her back in body, but like her mind's gone. Because we went back and we started watching season 1 and season 2. We're on season 2 now, and we watched the episode where she tries to find her mother, and she like finds her mom, but her mind is empty. Like there's nothing there. So it kind of speaks to the limitations of Elle's powers. Like, yeah, she can do certain things that are otherworldly, that are extraordinary, but even she doesn't have complete agency to what she can and can't do. I mean, which we saw in her battle against Vecna, and the ultimate battle against Vecna, and then in her inability to fully resurrect Max. So you may have a Max in body, but not in spirit, not in mind, which I think is almost more terrible.
Oh, it is. It's way worse. Because I mean, now like you've brought Max back, but it's not Max.
Yeah.
You've brought the body back, but Max not there. And I was just like, man, that kind of sucks. Like,
and then now it could be a vessel that any other upside down person can now occupy.
Vecna could technically use it because at the end of 4, we know that he's injured and he's hurt, so he can't come back yet. But maybe he can through Max.
Ooh, but what if he does come in? He takes possession of Max, and now they have to kill Vecna in Max's body.
Oh,
they have to kill Max. So maybe at that point, if that happens, does that make it worth it?
Yes. If that happens, yes. If they just like, oh, Max is still not waking up. and we go through that for the entire time, and then 11's like, you know what, I'm gonna use the rest of my god powers to bring Max back, and uses god powers and brings Max back, like sacrifices her own powers, and then Max
I think
comes
she'll
back.
die.
I'll hate that. I will be like, nope, terrible.
What if 11 dies though doing it?
So it's like the exchange, the ultimate exchange.
Yeah, because I don't think 11's gonna see past season 5.
Yeah,
I could be completely wrong.
No,
you can hate me right now, but I really think that's how the show ends.
See, I think it's Will. I think
Vecna
Will's the one that Will's the one that goes.
Because he
That's
hasn't had
brutal.
enough. Got
Poor
stuck in the
Will.
upside down, possessed by the mind flare. Has obviously an attraction to Mike and can't come out
I know.
to him. You know what I mean? Like, just, and now you're gonna kill him, dude. Why do you
catch
hate
a
gay
break.
people
But
so
no,
much?
no,
Like,
no,
why
but
can't you just be an ally?
No, that's the problem with his characters. Like, he's had 2 good.
Oh, because he's
things.
gay, Josh. You
God,
can't
I hate
say
you
that.
So, I hate you so much.
This is why we're not invited back on.
Yeah,
the
no,
podcast.
I don't even know if I can use
Gosh.
this episode, Liam. But no, like that's my problem with him. Like, yes, he was trapped in the upside down, which he didn't do like anything. He was possessed by the mind flare, which again, he was like didn't really do anything. What did he do in season 3? No, he was there, and that was it. This season, what does he do this season? He's there, and that's it. Like, that's my problem with him. Like, he doesn't do anything. That's why I'm like,
He's very
if you
emotional.
Kill him, it's very emotional. It's like, if you kill him, yes, it is a big, like, honestly, when he starts going off, like at the beginning, like when they're like, hey, we're gonna go get 11, and he goes and he gets his little drawing or whatever, I was like, okay, that's his confession drawing, and he's totally gonna die. Like, he's gonna give this to Mike and he's gonna die, and that's gonna be how that Will ends. And it didn't happen, and I was like, oh, so it's Max instead. That kind of sucks. So yeah, like I honestly thought Will was gonna die this season, because I thought this was the last season. So when I went into it, I was like, okay, this is it. Will's out. That's too bad for him. But then it didn't happen. And I was like, oh, okay.
When he unfurled that drawing, did you want it to be better?
Right? I'm like, bro, when you were like drawing on your kitchen table with your mom in season 1, like that drawing was better than this drawing. Like, I'm just saying, man, you've got some weird like Monty Python type stuff.
He does. I was like, is this drawn by Terry Gilliam?
I know,
Like, who did the work here?
It's like, oh, like this is you, Mike. You're the leader. It's like, no, that's King Arthur from from Holy Grail. Like, that's what that is.
Well, maybe the writers were like unsure of the timeline because the pandemic completely threw them off. They're like, wait, the kids still are 13? So his skills haven't evolved.
How old are these kids? Like, we're getting on like 90210 age right now. It's like these 30-year-olds playing like 16-year-olds.
Well, that was Brittany and my complaint right from the get-go.
It's Jason? Is that his name?
I mean,
It's either Jason or Brian.
Some sort of white guy name.
Names. Uh-oh, sorry, guys. Alarms going off.
Yeah, wake up for the podcast.
An hour late.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, no, I think it's Jason. He came on the screen and he's like the leader of the basketball team. Was like, who is this 40-year-old?
Is he the coach?
What? Yeah. What? Why is he in those skimpy shorts?
That was bad. Like, that was just, and then we looked it up. We're like, no, maybe we're just wrong. And we looked it up and he's like 27, 28 years old. And we're like, oh yeah, so he's basically 30.
Yeah.
And like, he looked like he could have been like Lucas's best friend on One Tree Hill. Like, those were the vibes I was getting. Like, he definitely plays with them on the team. He's gonna date Haley at some point, and that's what's gonna happen.
Dang, I haven't watched One Tree Hill in forever. Might have to revisit.
Yeah, I think we were still at the apartment when you were watching.
Yeah,
that was a long time.
Yeah, and I want to watch One Tree Hill. Such a good show.
I don't.
Anyway. Oh, what, bro? Are you kidding me?
No, those are not my jam.
It's got
Yeah, you
Gavin
watched it,
DeGraw
get
as the
over it.
intro. You
no.
love intro Gavin DeGraw.
I mean,
no, that's totally a different song, I think.
No,
no, I'm
that's
pretty
it.
sure
That was
that's
right.
the
That was
one.
right.
I don't want to be watching this mother. show.
He's lying. That was one of those shows where I was watching it, and then he would come in and be like, "What are you watching? Oh, this show? I don't want to watch it." 5 minutes later, "Oh, who's that guy? Oh, wait, why don't they like each other? Okay, what's happening now?" I'm like, "Yeah, just let me start over."
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's like, man, I can't believe you watch this stuff as he's sitting on the couch with you watching this stuff.
Yep.
Like, yeah,
See,
I love
but
those.
that is the dynamic in our marriage. She'll pick a show that she knows I won't watch, but then I'll watch it because she's watching it and I want to be part of the thing that's
Sure.
happening. And then for her, I'm like, hey, check out this show. And she's like,
Beep,
For
boop,
those
beep,
in the
boop.
audio version, I picked up my phone, put it in my face, and there's beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. And then 3 seasons in, she goes, "Who's that guy? Why is he doing that? What's this girl happening?
I get
Oh, this is
invested-
interesting."
No, I get invested in the last season of something that he's
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah. And then I'll be like, "Oh, let's go back and start it over." And she'll go,
Nah.
"No."
I already know how it ends. We're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much.
Like, if you ever want to get that, that's what Wikipedia is for. You'd be like, okay, how
Yeah.
does-
Let me flip through.
That's why I
Yeah.
have Liam. He'll tell me
Yeah.
everything.
We had audio problems watching Thor at the drive-in last night. So we missed like the whole opening sequence. And we're like, I don't know what the reasonings
What's
for the villain
motive?
are.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I'm gonna draw from my comic knowledge and hope for the best. So
what drawing from your comic knowledge for Christian Bale, man, what's what was the reason that he was so angry? Did
he
want to save
basically
somebody or
he
something?
basically no, his daughter dies and he takes her body to the god that he believes in and is basically asking for his help, and the god laughs in his face. So then Christian Bale summons the necro sword that's apparently lying in the grass for some reason.
The audio again, we don't know.
Yeah, we
why
don't know
it
the
was there.
audio,
We couldn't
so
hear anything that was happening.
We're taking
Drive-in
visual
speakers,
cues.
okay.
So he picks up the necro sword and kills the god that he believes in, and then decides, I'm going to kill all gods because none of them care about humans or the species that believe in the gods. So now he's going to kill all gods. So that's his reasoning. And then Thor, being a god, is like, well, I can't let that happen. So
I mean,
I'm a god.
so it's
I'm a god too.
So it's a self-preservation thing. Be like, wait, he's gonna kill me.
No,
Oh,
there's
no.
more, but
There's
that's
more.
a spoiler.
Gore steals a bunch of Asgardian children, so now he's got to save the children and also save the gods. So
I hate
Save
that.
the children, save the world.
because you're right, it can't just be I have to save myself. It's like I save kids too.
Does Gord take up kids in the comic? Does he steal children, or was this just Disney like, no, we can't have a sympathetic bad guy. We must make him bad man.
Yeah, well, essentially, like we're gonna make him bad, and he's stealing children, but then the children are just a red herring for the reasons. So
Yeah.
We're not doing it justice. I
Well, I'm
promise.
trying
it's
to
good.
like not spoil anything.
Yeah.
But if he keeps talking, he spoils
We'll
the whole
talk.
movie.
We'll talk afterwards, and you can just spoil it because I don't care.
Okay. We know.
This is true. I can't imagine this is a movie Josh goes out of his way to see. This is Josh is hanging out with somebody else that is watching this movie, and Josh is on the periphery of paying attention.
No, I'd probably
No,
leave.
it's called Wikipedia.
He goes,
We're
"Oh."
not friends anymore.
He goes, "Oh, you're putting on a Marvel movie? Well, time to go."
Yes, our friendship's over. Bye.
You say that, I've done that before.
I believe it.
Like,
But I see you doing it in the way of like, what was it, season 2 of IT Crowd, where the guy just steps out the window.
Oh yeah.
oh no, see, here's the thing. If you're ever with me and you're like, hey, let's put on a movie, and I don't want to watch it, I get a phone call. Be like, hey guys, I'm so sorry, I have to go. I get phone calls a lot when I don't want to do things.
Josh blind dates them,
He has one of those apps where you send it in.
sends a call to himself.
Yeah. Be like, and what I'll do is like, I'll try and sell it to be like, hey, hold on guys, I need to answer this. And I'll sit out there and I'll like be in like the bathroom or like in some place for like a few minutes being like, oh yeah, no, like I'll have a conversation with myself. Be like, oh no, yeah, I mean, I'm with some people, so that way if somebody's like listen in, I'm not just like, and it's not anything where it's like 10 seconds. We're like, hold on guys, I gotta go. It's like, hold on, I'll wait a couple minutes and be like,
No,
hey guys,
that's
You gotta
when-
sell
I gotta
it.
go. You gotta sell. You gotta
That's when
sell.
you text Charlie. You gotta text Charlie and be like, hey, I need you to call me right now.
Are you
Like,
kidding
tell
me? I bet you Gavin and Charlie are listening to this episode right now being like, son of a bitch, how many times has he pulled that crap on us?
I mean,
They wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Not saying that happened, but no. So yeah, like I really like the like that big like late 80s, early 90s fear of like Dungeons and Dragons is bad.
Yes.
And it is the devil.
Yes.
And even at the end of the show, when like the world, like Hawkins like breaks apart, they're like, this cult was responsible, and you're like, how?
Because dudes, they don't understand how a board game works. So they're, you know what I mean? Like, these are people that their imagination is completely spent on believing in Sky Grandpa. You know what I mean? Like, that's the extent of their imagination. So they can't sit there playing a board game, which it boggles the mind. But I also loved the fact that like, here's the group of 4 kids that we've grown up with that are like the social outcasts because they're nerdy AV club D&D players. And now here they've come under the wing of like the cool guy metalhead D&D player who has like, he makes them dress the same. So it's like their own mini cult. Like
I'm in their mini cult.
Yeah, she's wearing the mini cult t-shirt. Like they're all in their matching gear, like their matching uniform gear. And he is like loud, obnoxious, but also kind of bullies them into following him. It's interesting. Like,
isn't that how all groups work?
Yeah, like you have your alpha in the group. Like it's super funny. Like I liked that he was like the cool guy alpha dog in the D&D group. Like,
oh, he definitely was.
That'd be like me being like, I was the coolest kid in my ska band. I wasn't.
The coolest kid in your Jinko jeans.
I wasn't wearing Jinkos by the time ska was popular, Brittany.
I'm just saying, period. You wore them.
Yeah, I did at one point. I had one pair because that's all we could afford. And I shared them with my sister. We had to take turns who was going to wear Jinko jeans that day. I wish I was lying. I'm not.
Jinko.
I
get that on Stringers Things. Does that happen?
We should be getting to Jenkos and kids, or say Keds, pretty
Keds.
soon. We should that's coming.
Oh, I think we are on the cusp.
No, that would be mid 90s. Like they really have to if they're going to time jump to catch up with the actual age of these kids.
Have you looked at any pop stars, rock stars, whatever you want to call them, that are on stage right now? They are straight up Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys like outfits.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did we come back to this? We watched the awfulness. We know where fashion has come from. We do not go back to the crap.
No, plaid shirts. That was what got me.
Well, I don't know.
Flannels, when flannels came back.
Well, that came back.
No, I know, but like the grunge look, I was like, oh, this is what we're going with.
But now we're in belly shirts. We're in the belly shirt era, or the ripped shirts.
Yeah.
Like, it's unnecessary. We're going back to low-rise jeans. Yay.
I'm ready for 2029 when Affliction comes back and people have like weird garbage on the back of their shirts again and like tons of crosses and shit.
Oh, it'll happen. Tribal tattoos make a comeback.
Freaking Von Dutch.
Yep.
Oh.
What tribe are you from, Chad?
Real quick, Liam, is there like any old video of young little Liam skanking around, just like
I have a VHS tape of my ska band's first performance at the coffee shop that I would eventually work at. And we didn't understand how to like position ourselves properly on the stage. So like the drummer is dead center. And then you have like the 3 dudes that were the horn section, myself, or the guy that was the singer, and then myself. But we made sure to like leave room in the middle so you could still see the drummer. So basically we're just standing in a straight line, like across the front of the stage. It's painfully awkward. Yeah, I have that on VHS somewhere. So
awesome. The world deserves to see this.
Yes,
and you can see like the shadows of people that are getting up, and like some people coming in and then immediately leaving again.
And
so
nobody in the audience at all.
Yeah. Well,
it
was a good time. I think there was probably like 7 people watching.
Like they walk in, it's like, do those kids have chains on their wallets? And they didn't just leave.
Right, because
what cult are they?
Because at 14, people were really trying to steal your wallet. Like, what were you gonna get? My Ultra Zone
Your
like punch card. Yeah, my Blockbuster card. That wasn't even mine. It was my grandma's because I wasn't old enough to have one. So I had to use hers to rent movies. Like,
that little
super
like,
necessary.
Weird cellophane thing that came in your wallet where you would put your pictures.
Oh
Yeah.
That little thing that only had like a picture in it and maybe like some ticket stubs from a movie, and that's all it had.
It had a ticket stub. It had a picture of yourself because why not? Probably had a picture of like the girl you were dating, or definitely your Blockbuster card, and then probably like a TCBY yogurt like punch card.
TCBY.
Like buy 19, get your 20th frozen yogurt for free. Only people from like upstate New York, like northeastern area, they'll understand what TCBY is.
There was one TCBY out here.
Was there really?
I never went to it.
Then that's why it's gone. Because you never went to it.
I think mine may have had like a Digimon playing card in there at some point. Because I mean, you know, I was a cool kid.
You were.
Like, this is my Agumon card.
Mine had Fissure because it was the first Magic card I ever got because I found it on the floor, like at school. So I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. And I put it in my wallet. So
Liam getting into the cults at a young age. Keeping that Magic card on you.
Dude, I'm still surprised I didn't get into D&D until you forced us to play during the pandemic. Like I had all the makings of being a D&D player, but just nobody like pushed me over the line. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, you didn't have an Eddie Munson.
I didn't. I needed we all need an Eddie Munson. If I took anything from season 4, is that you need to go out and find your Eddie Munson.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to have that person.
And like what you like, man. Like whether other people like it or don't.
Yeah.
Like if you really love it, freaking fall into it hard.
Honestly, I kind of feel like no, and I feel like that's probably the one good thing that Stranger Things has done. Like, not that they haven't done they've told a brilliant story. Like, I absolutely love Stranger Things. It's probably my favorite streaming service series. Like one that specifically came out just through the streaming services. I think, like pound for pound, it's been the best one, and we've been at the biggest. Yeah, the biggest.
It's like a global phenomenon. It's crazy.
100%. And I think for us, like being on the edge of our seat, like staying up late, and like we're old and have kids, like we don't stay up late. So like staying up late specifically to watch these episodes. I mean, I think that speaks volumes for this series. Yeah. But I think what I've really loved is them kind of normalizing being an outcast, being an outsider. And that, like, even being an outsider, you're still the cool kid in your group. Like when you look at the 4 of them, like you look at Will, you look at Mike, you look at Lucas, and you look at Dustin. Like each of them are cool in their own way, and I really like that. I even liked in this series, like Lucas wanting to be a cool kid and realizing that's not him, and kind of having like that identity crisis and coming back to terms with like, no, this is who I'm supposed to be. And even his younger, like Erica, being like the proxy Lucas for them. Like, oh, well, we need another person for our group. And she's like, she hates all of that crap, but still knows it. And I loved that.
Well, that's typical of a younger sibling.
Yeah.
You have to pretend you don't like, your older sibling stuff, or depending on the age.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you're really young, then you love everything that your older sibling is doing.
Yeah.
If you're so close in age, you're like, that's stupid. That's nerdy. But yet she, like you said, she knows everything. So she's just as good, if not better at it than he is. Love it.
Well, that's like, we've talked about this before, like you and your older sister have a 6-year age gap, right? So like you were kind of like the coattails, like the little duckling that followed her around.
To her. I wanted to be like doing all the things she was doing, and she didn't want me around.
Yeah.
But I think if you shorten that to 3 years, I think that's when you have those like you butt heads maybe. I
think to some degree, because Carrie, my older sister, we're 3.5 years, right? And we were into some of the same stuff, but then we also could kind of go off and do our own thing. Whereas my 3 younger sisters are all 18 months apart. So they just clashed and butted heads constantly because it was almost like a competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think in the early seasons with Stranger Things, you see Erica, hey, Remy. You see Erica, and our son has decided to grace us with his scantily clad appearance. So what I really liked about Erica was that in the early seasons, like she's sort of the bane of Lucas's existence. Like she's tattling on him, and she's throwing him under the bus, making fun of him for the things that he's into. So that's why it was even better to see her kind of be like, yeah, whatever, I can play. I could do this. And then like she wins.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that round, that 10-hour session or whatever, like she's the victor. I freaking love that. I thought that was so dope.
Yeah, it's really good. Like Erica is one of the characters I'm like, man, you can stay. Like you're fine. Like Will, I'm just like, you know, if he dies, it'll be sad. But I mean, if Erica dies, I'm like, man, it's the world coming to.
Right.
Not the little sister.
I think it's tough, right? Because I think you have certain characters that it's tough because they almost tee it up as though you're expecting that character to die. Like we kind of expected Eddie to die from the get-go of this season.
They kind of didn't leave him a choice. It's like, what's he gonna do when he gets back? Like everybody thinks that he's murdered one person for sure, if not two people, via divine intervention. So it's like he's kind of like, and even the newspaper kid, it's like, well, he's probably gonna get that one too because both of these people were killed in the exact same way. So he's probably gonna get the blame for that one too. He'll probably also get the blame for Max. Just because, you know, basically exact same thing.
Like none of them can say anything because the government is always freaking watching.
Right.
Which is weird too, because but there's that other part of the government that can be like, oh no, it was actually this, and this. They could have come out and done it, but it's like, nah, it's all right. We'll just
they choose their battles.
We'll just make the whole world think that this poor kid killed all these people.
Well, it's the easy solution, especially if he's not there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if he comes back, then maybe you have a morality issue with it. But if he's dead or gone or whatever, then they're just like, well, he's done our work for us. And I read this article, right, that they talked about how, you know, Eddie's death was disingenuous and unnecessary, and it wasn't as noble as Stranger Things wanted it to be because they wanted it to be like, oh, well, he's run away from all his problems and blah, blah, blah. And now he finally stood his ground and he died. And that's not noble. And you're like, I don't really get that, because they were trying to say like him running away was his defense mechanism and something he's had to do his entire life, like being, you know, an outsider. And they were trying to paint him as like a complete outsider to everybody else in the group. And Brittany, when I was telling her about the article, was like, this show is based on your main characters being quote unquote outsiders. So you can't call Eddie an outsider of the outsiders. It doesn't make sense. Like
he's like king of the outsiders.
Exactly. Yeah. I think
people have gotten too far away from the fact that these kids are not cool kids.
Yeah.
It's because we're watching it from an outsider's perspective where we're obsessed with these kids and we're thinking, hey, they are cool. You know, I see myself in them. It's like, guys, you weren't cool either when you were a kid. Stop pretending like you were. I know I wasn't. You know you weren't. Like we don't lie about it. But I think because they're on a show and we've seen them grow up, we're thinking they're the popular kids. It's like they very much are not.
Yeah.
And so we cannot pretend like Eddie is like the only uncool kid. They all still are not cool kids. That's the point of the damn show.
And
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and they've all run away. Like all of these characters have run away. Like I said before, we're watching the second season again. Will was running away constantly from the Mind Flayer, and then when he does stand his ground, he gets possessed by the Mind Flayer. So you're kind of like, if anything, this show has taught us run. Like, do not stand still. Like, continue to run because you need to get out of here. Like, this is not safe.
And like, look at Eddie. Like, same thing happens to Eddie. It's like when he runs, he lives. When he stands his ground, he gets attacked by weird bird crows. Demobats. Yeah. So I mean, I appreciated what the article was trying to say. I just didn't particularly agree with it. Yeah. And I thought that Eddie's death, and especially the speech that Dustin has with Eddie's uncle, where he's like, look, I got to know Eddie, you know, before all of this happened, and he was already a hero to me before this. Like, this didn't make him dying, didn't make him a hero. Him doing this and saving the rest of us, that's not what made him a hero. He was already a hero. So it's like Dustin already says what this article was trying to say wasn't true. You know what I mean? Like, they were trying to say like, oh, it's all disingenuous. And it's like, well, no, Dustin says what needs to be said, is that like, this town will never recognize Eddie for who he is, but they were never going to give him that chance regardless. So it almost didn't matter what Eddie did.
he was never going to get his fair shake in this town. And like, yeah, the town doesn't have to face their bigotry or their, they don't have to look inward on themselves, but they never were going to do that. There was never a point that they were going to be, oh man, we're in the wrong. Eddie dying has shown us the light. Like that was never going to be the case. Like this was a town of people that were ready to go and attack a child. They were going to take like justice into their own hands instead of allowing the police to do their freaking job. Like this is not a town filled with good
Army
people.
surplus store and buy guns and axes.
That blew my mind when they went to the store. The Army Navy surplus. The entire town is there, and these kids are just buying guns, like nothing.
I mean, do you know what country we live in?
I mean, it's America.
This was Indiana in the late 80s.
Yeah, just like you
last week. No.
Yeah, no, right. In the late 80s.
Gonna buy a shotgun for $120.
Yeah, yes. I just like it's unfathomable. Like I do not understand how that is an actual thing that occurs.
But I love that they throw things like that in.
Yeah.
Because you look back on, hey, this is very much or was a reality, and it kind of is in different ways now. Obviously not to the where you can go to your Dollar General and freaking buy a shotgun.
Oh, you can do that here in Oklahoma.
Oh my God.
Of course you can. Of course you can.
You probably could. I don't know. People are gonna message in actually where I'm from, you can.
Oh yeah, that's it. It's like, well, I'm from Texas and you get one whenever you buy a steak,
You finish the Sunday.
Yeah. Would you like this Remington 500 or an AR-15? I've already got AR-15. Do you have anything with a 30-round clip?
Lord.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like I'd like something that's a little bit, user friendly.
I need something that's mobile. And I think that's what this show in particular has been really good about doing, is kind of showing us two sides of a story, right? I think, to pivot from Eddie a little bit and look at Elle's journey in this series, with her kind of the dichotomy between her dealing with her aversion to Papa and the program and everything that it contains, but also understanding the necessity of it in order for her to be able to do what she does. But then also kind of going back to her being the cause of all of this, her creating the original gate during her battle with One.
Yeah, that was a little bit whenever he was there, I was like, okay, the guy, he's got to be something. I mean, nobody talks to Elle.
Oh, I said he was one from the get-go.
You did.
I did.
Called that he was one.
Yeah.
The moment they said, when Papa says One died, I was like, no, that's him. Because it's he also was the only one too that wears long sleeves. Everybody else in that whole entire complex is short sleeves, and I was like, well, what's he? He's hiding something.
They're all in tank tops. They've cut the sleeves off. Some people are shirtless, and he's wearing a parka. You're just like, all right, guys.
I don't even think I put that together.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck is going on? But no, yeah, I thought that was good. I do like the whole Elle is the reason that the Upside Down is even here. She is the reason for everything.
Yeah.
She really is.
So if she does die, and that's what closes everything and makes everything stop, because that's what that's my thing. I'm for next season, it's either Will has to die because he still has that connection to the Upside Down, or 11 has to die because she's created the Upside Down, basically.
Well, it existed, right? Because wasn't it influencing?
She opened the door.
Yeah, because it was influencing.
Well, it exists just like other dimensions exist, and we just don't know it yet.
Because we don't access them. But yeah, because it was Henry the Creel. The one's real name is Henry, right?
Henry Creel.
Yeah, so he was accessing that because he had.
Was he Henry Creel?
Yeah. Because Victor Creel. Because I always thought it's funny because Victor Creed is.
Oh, Victor.
Yeah. Victor Creel was the dad, and then Henry was the son. But he was obviously accessing the power from the Upside Down because he had the mind abilities and whatnot.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So are there? Well, I guess there would just be other kids out there who could do this, and either they lean into it or they don't.
Yeah, 100%.
He very much was. Look at these Black Widows.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about our lack of understanding of the human mind. you know, just the way that it works. Well, I mean, the concept of us only using 10% of our brain. So people that have telekinesis or ESP or any sort of additional ability, that would be them accessing maybe even just 11% or 12% of their brain versus what a regular human accesses. And that's one thing that I've really liked about this show is they do tap into things that are real, and then they just make it sci-fi. Like the whole MK Ultra aspect of like even just season 1, like that's real stuff that happened. Like they actually abducted people and experimented on them.
I didn't believe you at first.
Yeah, Brittany was like, no. And I go, no, they've disclosed documents. Like in 2001, I remember reading the redacted documents and being like, because it was like
Very
summer.
spooky.
And I was like, what? No, this is not possible. This is not a real thing. And it is. And the worst part is MK Ultra is just one of many programs that they utilized. So like for this to be, they've abducted children that have abilities and they've experimented on them. Yeah, that's probably been done. Because it's been done on adults, there's no reason to believe they haven't done it to children as well.
Good point.
And
they just haven't disclosed that.
Kids too, because I mean, like they're growing and developing. It's like you can tap more into that.
Yep.
It's easier to indoctrinate. Yeah.
And we have a surplus of children in the United States that are, you know,
400,000 people in the children in the foster care system.
Exactly. You can take a couple of those. No one's gonna know.
Well, no wonder.
Real quick, how did that one girl from season 2 get out? Did she get out before 11 killed everybody?
Oh, yeah. So we were talking about that, and we were like, we have to keep our 8. We have to keep our eye out for 8 because in the flashbacks, everybody's very
there's like
pale.
2 kids. I think there's 2 kids that are, or maybe 1.
That's like ethnic, a person of color.
Yeah.
There was an Asian kid.
I feel like there was,
but he was the older one. He was one in that group of bullies.
Well, I don't know. I guess have to go.
Yeah, we have to keep our eye out for 8. So 8 was the one from season 2 that had escaped that could.
Right, because then she's in the little posse.
Yeah, like because I'm like, when did she escape? Like, did she escape before 11 or no? Sorry, before 1 murdered everybody, or?
I think so. She would have to have. But he didn't. Did he murder everybody, or was it just everybody in that room?
He murdered everybody. Because like, remember, he even goes into because he murdered just people in like random rooms.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because he goes and he finds what's the kid's name? Was it 6 or something or 5?
5, I think.
Who was just vibing, you know, with Papa, just be like, hey man, yeah, I'm gonna learn how to move a can or something, and it's like,
yeah, awful.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But I thought it was interesting them putting the trigger warning at the start of the season because of what had just happened in Texas. So it was like, hey, we didn't plan that this would be so, you know, shocking when it happens. But I mean, ultimately that I would think they should have put a trigger warning regardless because you're still murdering children, and that's harrowing no matter how you
doesn't usually happen in TV, not in America. We usually like children are sacred. Like, we leave children out of it. Like, even in Stranger
100%.
Things, we went, 4 seasons without murdering a child. And even then, when we did kill one, we brought her back. So it's weird.
See, this is why Will is not going to die.
No, that's why he is going to die.
No, because by the time we get to season 5, these kids are going to be like mid-20s. So like
coming out it's 2024. Like,
they're
already. Did they set it?
Yeah,
there's 2024.
Well, because they're barely writing it.
They're writing it now. They'll film it in 2023, and it'll be released in 2024. So,
dang them! They gotta stop doing that.
So now, to kind of continue on with some of like the characters themselves, like we've talked about Eddie, we've talked about Max. Do you feel like there was enough development for like Mike and for Will in this season?
Mike's not had any development since.
That's how I felt.
Mike is just there. Mike is there because, like, if Mike dies, 11 will destroy the planet. That's the only reason Mike is still alive.
Good point.
Mike didn't do anything in season 3. Mike didn't do anything in season 4. I don't think he does anything in season 5 except kind of make Elle jealous that he may be into Max. That's the only thing that happened in season 2 with him.
Yeah.
And then in season 3, like he and Lucas are like, oh man, we got to get our girlfriends back. That's all that happens with Mike's character.
Well,
he doesn't really do anything.
In season 4, he grossly underreacts to 11 bludgeoning another person with a roller skate.
Well, I mean, they've seen some things.
No, 100%. But like, she just straight up like cold cocked this girl with a roller skate. Like, yeah, the girl was a jerk.
Wait, I can't say that.
Yeah, right. Well, child abuse, right? But it's
well, it's a child on a child. I think it's okay,
right?
Like,
it's just,
that you film and put on YouTube. So
yeah, 100%. Bum fights, it's fine. But I think that was the thing. Like for Will, like you kind of felt some development because it was him battling with his own sexuality, right?
Yeah.
And his apparent love for Mike, but knowing that Mike is obviously in love and infatuated with 11, which is interesting because I think it was it in the last season? Somebody had done like a still where it's Mike telling 11 he loves her or vice versa. And then Jonathan looks at Will. You know what I mean? Because and like, at first I was thinking like, oh, it's because Will probably also loves 11. And then you're like, no, it's because Will loves Mike. And Jonathan kind of knows.
Yeah.
So he's looking at Will, like, how is Will going to react to like what is happening between 11 and Mike? And it's especially going back and watching the first season, like the Lonnie, Will and Jonathan's dad, like referred to Will as like a pansy and weak and a queer and like all these like derogatory terms.
Even the bullies in the first season called him a queer boy.
Yeah. But you kind of think like, oh, he's just sensitive. And then as the series has progressed, you're like, oh, I get it. Like he is, closet, he's homosexual, he's closeted or bisexual or something. Like, so it's interesting that they've kind of continued to develop that aspect of Will, but I also don't want that to be like the only thing about him now. Like, oh, he's the token gay character. I don't want that. Like, I want him to still be Will. I want him to almost have that redemption, kind of what you were saying. Like, he's been everybody's beat bag. Like, he's been a punching bag for all of these seasons. And I kind of want him to be the hero. I almost want him to save everyone as opposed to Al.
Well, that's how I felt about the first season where you go. I remember seeing the trailer for this and seeing that, it's about this kid, Will, and then we go the whole first season and he's like not even in the show at all. It's like he's in the upside down.
He's in the first episode for about 5 minutes and then he's in flashbacks until the last episode.
I always thought that was nuts that we finally get to the end. I'm like, wait, this can't be the end of this whole show because we had an attachment to this kid. He gets taken. We see nothing about him. Yeah, I get that they're trying to get him back, but you better give him some redemption in season 2. Wait a minute, he's still being messed with.
Yeah.
He's spitting out slugs and whatever the heck. That's why I'm like, this season 5 better be like a Will redemption, like story of the whole thing. I think he needs to have a huge role in season 5. And if he doesn't, I think they're completely missing the mark.
Well, that's why I think like if he dies and like ends like the threat to the upside down, because he's the one who's never felt himself like seen himself as the hero. So him being the hero would be a great arc. Now, if they're gonna like honestly, if they're gonna kill anybody that I just don't care about, it would be Jonathan. Like, he's the worst character. Like, the fact that he's still alive and still with Nancy, I'm just like, just die. Dude, just
It's just because you like Steve.
It's because Josh is Steve.
Here's the thing. Steve has had the most character development of any character on the show. Like, Steve is like their character. Like it could be Stranger Things. It could be Stever Things. That is basically what the show is. It's just about Steve being complete human garbage in the first season and slowly growing and becoming like this like he's like the de facto like guardian of these kids now. And that to me he's the best character on the show. And Jonathan, I'm just like, bro, Jonathan, you suck. You didn't do anything in the first season. You didn't do anything in the second season. You still haven't. It's been 2 more seasons. You haven't done anything. All you did was drive the van. And even then, you didn't even drive the van the whole time.
because
So I
Argyle was
thought-
driving too.
Argyle was driving most of it.
In this season, neither of them should be driving it, man. They're all
Yeah, they're high as a
They're
kite.
both high, yeah.
I'm surprised I got anywhere, but maybe it helps them focus. Anyway, I thought it was going to be either Eddie, we kind of knew was going to go because what was going to be his reason for coming back. But I thought it was going to be up between Eddie and Steve for dying in this season.
Yeah.
Because so many people are connected to Steve. And I love Steve. Like, I think his character development, great, love it. But I just don't think he should be like the overall hero of everything.
Agreed.
Because he was the cool guy to begin with. And I just don't think it's fair, you know, for these
Well,
kids,
he lost that cool guy status though.
Yeah,
The moment he sticks up for Nancy in season 1, he loses that cool guy status.
yeah,
I don't
but
know,
think
he's
just
still-
because he comes from it and he has money, like going back to that first season, I'm like, oh yeah, he's a rich kid. He's
Yeah.
a spoiled rich kid.
Yeah.
And you know, he's the jock, everything about him was like, no, if we've watched any 80s film, he does not deserve to be, you know, the hero of
He
this
doesn't get the
movie.
girl in the end, but he will. But he will.
He hasn't said that like I'm gonna tell my father or anything like this, or like this. My father owns this ski resort, and like we haven't had any weird bits like that. That's why like to me with Steve, again, he has this growth throughout. It's like, and he's known that he was a piece of garbage. Like he knows that he
Yes.
was a piece of shit, and so like he's learned from that, and that's why I think he's like the character that everyone. And okay, what you said about killing Steve, it would have been great as well. I did not like all the fake outs that they did this season of like someone's gonna die. I'm like, just kill somebody. At this point, all of our characters have been
They
around.
better
since,
all die.
like all of our characters have been around since season 2. They're gloating throughout this season of we've saved the world multiple times. It may be a little harder now that our superpower friend isn't here. Like the fact that they're gloating about it, I'm just like, one of you need to die. If not, 2 of you need to die. Like when we cut and Steve's like being choked, I was like, that would be cool. Like if they killed Steve here, it's going to be very sad, but it's maybe going to be like, hey, slapping them in the face, being like, you guys aren't gods. Like you're only good because you have, you know, Superman on your side.
11.
Like that's the only reason that you guys have stood a chance this entire time.
Well, and let's be honest, they haven't saved the world because they have to continuously fight the
It's
same
very fair.
evil. So it's like you've never done the job. You haven't finished the
They've
work.
put a band-aid on the world a few times.
Yeah.
They are
but-
kids. They are saving
it's
the
literally
world
like a
slowly
screen
but
door on a
surely.
submarine. Like it's not helpful. Like not even a little bit. And like really when Steve was getting choked, I really just wanted them to save him, but then he had like a raging hard on and they're just like, Steve, and he's like, I think I might be into something.
That would have been great.
You know, just to add
Very different.
a very different element to this show. But here's the thing, right? Because you have built up a pretty expansive cast at this point. I would say at the end of season 5, our finale, you're gonna have a pretty big
We're gonna
swath of
lose,
individuals
yeah.
that do die.
Yes.
So Murray for sure is gonna die. Because let's say like Murray's kind of fringe, right? Like
Yeah.
he's not.
But I don't even know if
Important.
Murray's going to be in the next season.
No, he
Why
will
would
because
you put him in?
You-
He's not with them in Hawkins though.
He's
At
not.
the-
yeah, he
at
was
the
a
end of the
Hawkins.
se-
He's a Hawkins reporter, wasn't he? That was how he started. He was like a Hawkins
Yeah, but
conspiracy theorist
he
reporter
doesn't
person.
live there anymore, does he?
I would assume so. I don't
Oh,
know.
he
I
may.
mean,
you
I
know
think
what?
he-
It's weird. He may, because like I thought they drove, like I thought Nancy and Jonathan drove a good amount of ways to get Murray,
Oh, I don't know. We're not at
And-
that part yet.
because
In the
that's what I
return.
thought.
In the oh, you mean in season, 4?
In season 2.
well,
no,
no, in season 2, like when they
Meet Murray.
when they meet Murray, like they're driving a fair ways out of town. Like I don't
Yeah,
think he's
but-
in Hawkins.
Yeah, good point. But he's
Yeah,
close
but
enough.
remember, he comes to the police station to harass Hopper,
Yeah.
and he's like, "There's talk about the Russian girl popping up," and he's like, "What are you talking about?" You know what I mean? Like Murray comes
I
to the
don't- I
police
don't
station.
remember.
Yeah, we
So it's-
just watched.
Yeah,
this
so
episode.
it's not like he's hopping a flight.
Yeah, it was
from
just
Utah to
yeah, it
come
wasn't,
in, you know what I mean?
Far, so
That's
he's
fair.
close enough.
Yeah. I just drove in from South Dakota to bug this police chief in this
Well,
random
yeah,
town.
So you think Murray's gonna go?
I mean, I would say Murray goes unless you're gonna kill Hopper and have Murray be like
I,
the solace for Joyce. Not like romantic, but Joyce has like
No.
somebody that she can still.
I don't
lean on.
I don't want Hopper to go at all because we thought he was gone already.
Yeah, Hopper, they've done too many fake outs with Hopper dying. So I think Hopper lives. So I'd say Murray
also
dies.
Messing with Joyce again. It's like, give this mother a freaking break, man.
Yeah.
She's
But
lived an awful life.
No,
really.
you let Hopper live. Jonathan dies, not Will. Jonathan dies, but it's because Jonathan is basically the only reason he's there in season 4 is because he needs to be the shoulder for Will to cry on, because Will can't go to Mike with his feelings and
he's always been Will's shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
If you go back to the first season, their relationship is
super
precious.
close. Oh yeah, it's super close.
Precious.
Dude's also still lying to Nancy.
Yeah,
Just
but
saying.
I mean, her name is Nancy. You always lie to Nancy.
That's fair.
That's just reality. I mean, I'm sorry for the Nancys out there, which, I mean, really, how many people under the age of 50 are named Nancy these days?
What about Nancy? Do you think Nancy
dies?
No.
Yeah.
No, they don't kill Nancy.
I enjoy Nancy's character, but I don't think she has that hold or that connection. So I don't see Nancy dying and it being like a huge oh my God, Nancy died. I think it's got to be kind of a character that you are emotionally attached to.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you don't like Jonathan, but I actually like Jonathan's character because I do enjoy that he is Will's shoulder to cry on. He's kind of always been there for him for Will's growth. So I can see Jonathan dying and that being a big deal.
Yeah.
For the buy, because one of the boys has to go, right? Like if Will's not going to go,
one of them lose a Byers. Like a Byers needs to go. I mean, I don't think of our main 4, our 4 boys, Will's the only one to me that makes any sense because I'm like, I don't think you kill Dustin and I don't think you kill Lucas. Mike, again, I feel like if you kill Mike, the emotion isn't there.
Agreed.
It's just like, oh, Mike.
Because he, like you said, hasn't had any development.
Yeah, he hasn't had anything.
So either something has to happen.
And if they give him any sort of development in season 5, it's like, it's kind of a bit too late.
It's too late.
You can't make him like, all right, Mike's going to pull a Nancy and the Wheelers are going to go off and murder Demogorgons and shit. Like, it doesn't work. Like, it's just way too late to give Mike any development. This, because you've not given him anything in 4 seasons. So if you give him anything in season 5, that's almost like a red flag that you're going to murder him, you know?
Yeah, and he's the relationship crutch. If, like you said, if he goes, Elle is just gonna destroy the world. It makes sense. We need him there for a reason. That, Will said, you're the heart. You're the heart of this group, and kind of, I think you are kind of the leader of this group, and you're the heart because Elle has made you that way.
Yeah,
and if we lose you, dire things are coming.
Well, that's a good way to kill, to inflict the most amount of damage. If you take out that heart, very early, say it's, I have no idea how many episodes it is. We'll say it's 6. I can see them pulling a weird thing and only giving maybe a Game of Thrones.
Every episode is 2.5 hours though.
Yeah. Maybe if we have 8 episodes, we'll just say.
Yeah.
It's I can see them if they're gonna kill Will. I mean, kill Mike. End of episode 2.
Yeah.
It's it's boom, boom, boom. You still have 6 episodes, and it's how's everybody gonna react? Because that's gonna hurt Nancy. That's gonna hurt Steve. That's gonna hurt all the kids. It's how do you combat from that? Whereas if you kill Will, that's sad, but it's well, guys, we do still have a job to do. You know what I mean?
It'd be really great though. They kill him at the end of episode 2, and then we have 6 episodes of Elle just completely gone mental, and she's just using her mental powers to animate his corpse. So they're just sitting there having tea parties and going roller skating.
I don't think she's ever going to go roller skating again.
No, for sure. Definitely not. No, because she's so traumatized that she's I remember going roller skating with Mike.
Awful.
Let's play D&D. Roll the dice, Mike.
Well, because then we could have a cool Dark Phoenix-y type of thing with Elle, which we kind of get a little bit in season 2.
Yes.
But I mean, it would be way cooler, crazy
I don't
Elle.
think they're going that direction with Elle though.
No.
I feel like it happened already.
Yeah.
And she's already lost her powers and she's had to gain them back in this season. So she needs to develop them more, obviously, because now we thought that would, well, for those of us that thought season 4 was the end, which I think a lot of us did, because none of us read an article to see that they was going to season 5.
Yeah.
So the way it ended, we were like, wait a minute, is this a D&D? Is this a choose your own fate? Do we roll the dice and we just decide how this season is going to end? I don't know. We know she's going to develop her powers a little bit more because she's going to have to really go after Vecna this time, because whatever happened last season apparently wasn't the big
It wasn't
ending.
enough.
Like, what's going to be bigger than that? Like, I
Right.
don't know how they're going to top
I think
that,
they
but-
actually have to like fight face to face, because I mean, it was just fighting
Punch.
through, like
yeah, she
weird,
has
like,
through
through-
the, what do they
through
call that?
Sam. So it's like,
Oh, the piggyback. She called it.
Yeah,
a
she
piggyback.
piggybacked on Max. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
not Sam.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
who Sam is.
Three letter unisex names,
another redhead
Yeah.
character in another show. So something's gotta give with Elle, like learning those. I don't think I don't think she's gonna lose Mike. I just don't think that is the crutch that is gonna make her, go overboard. So I don't think Mike's going anywhere. I really think he is just that. He's just the character that he is.
Yeah.
What story is there to develop by this point? I don't think there is one, other
No.
than his relationship with Will. Like, what is
Right.
going to be said between them? Will ever come out to Mike?
Yeah.
And I guess back in the 80s, no,
No.
he
Yeah.
won't.
No.
Yeah.
What's gonna
Sad.
happen is Will's gonna tell Elle, and Elle's gonna be like, and just like snap his neck, and then, like, Luke's will be like, he's
Problem
mine.
solved.
It's
Yeah.
like done.
Which then we get rid of the mind flayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever's
it's-
going on.
yeah.
Look at that, easy. Nobody knew.
Suddenly the upside down completely disappears because it was just a manifestation of Will's like closeted
All of the
homosexuality.
flowers
Like
just start blooming again.
everybody that died comes back to life. Like life, it becomes Pleasantville.
Oh,
Like it's just
Will.
What would be really cool is like the 5th season is one of those interactive Netflix things. So you do actually choose your own adventure.
Who
Roll the
dies?
dice.
Yep.
Be like, "Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba."
You know what though? That wouldn't be bad. Can you imagine if it was like one of the core 4 has to die, and then whichever one you pick, you see how things change, and you're like, all right, well, if Mike dies, Elle goes insane, and like
Blows up the
everybody
world,
gets wiped
yeah.
off. Will dies, and like life goes back to normal, and
Oh.
everybody is happy. Lucas dies, and nothing changes. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah.
But that's what Brittany and I were talking about. Was like, it's like if you kill Dustin and Lucas, it's like
Yeah.
it's sad, but it's like
They're
all right.
They're not gonna
It's-
go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because same thing. You kill Lucas, you kill Dustin, and it's like the comedy in the show is gone.
I know.
Like,
Yeah,
you-
bummer.
You kill Lucas, and all of a sudden you don't have a character shouting at the other characters for really no apparent reason. Like
he
Yes.
likes to run at people and shout.
we
But you
rewatching
need
the
it.
first
You
2
need
seasons,
that character though.
but he's just angry all the
Yeah.
time, just always angry. And I'm like, he's in a rich white neighborhood and he's safe. Like, you don't have to be the angry black kid. You're okay.
Well, he's not safe.
No,
He's in
apparently
a rich
not.
White, you
Yeah,
just said
not
it.
anymore. It's like
He's in a rich white neighborhood.
Right
He
now,
should be shouting.
he's slowly
Funny.
realizing, like, I'm in danger here. I'm in more danger here than I'm in the upside down. This is not good.
it
And then-
definitely is. Definitely.
And then Dustin's just adopting weird demon, animals. Like, why not,
Oh
Dustin?
yeah.
You do
Well,
you,
it's-
boo boo.
Not
He's also getting his girlfriend to hack into school and change all of his grades. That's a bit
His
Right.
his weird Mormon girlfriend that
with
lives
her
in a
weird
house with like
Mormon
1,000
family. Like,
children.
what was that? Like,
That
I
was
don't
so
know.
strange.
I was like,
I
why is
forgot
this
about
here?
that.
Little
Why
road
is this part of this show?
little
Like, I
road
don't
trips.
understand.
Yeah, little road trips that you're just like
I mean, well, how else were they going to get the info to where,
To find
secret
this-
government,
I don't know, the agent
Underground.
could have told them exactly where it was before he died. Like,
He did. He gave them a pen.
he gave them a pen that then they were like, oh, it's coordinates.
Maybe he didn't know. Maybe he was just like he was issued standard issued pin. It's like Lightyear. They're given pin, but they don't know how it works.
We still haven't watched it
Yeah, I haven't watched Lightyear yet.
Spoiler,
We were supposed to
there's
watch
a
it last
pin
night.
scene.
A Penzi. Well, because how can you not? Yeah, I just feel like if you're gonna go for the gravitas that most of these shows kind of want to have, especially to end on that note where you feel like there's some semblance of resolution and that characters have had a sufficient arc. I mean, people are gonna have to die. Like that's just the reality of cinema these days.
I think we kind of agreed on Jonathan being like a character that would go, because that would actually be emotional for a lot of the people. A buyer's kid would die, because like Joyce lost one, came back. Like there's so much, like just one of them's got to go. Yeah, and I don't see it being Will. I know you do. I don't see it.
Do you see it being Joyce?
No,
because think about it in that regard, right? Joyce has been there
talking to a mother,
right?
That was so rude.
But think about the gravity. Like, okay, you kill Will, some gravity. You kill Jonathan, not so much gravity for Will, for Joyce for sure. Kill Hopper, we've tried that. He's unkillable. It's freaking Hopper. But you kill Joyce.
Samwise Gamgee though, like we can't kill Rudy again. Like it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you kill Joyce, and think about how that affects everybody. It affects Elle, Hopper, Jonathan, Will, Mike, Justin, Lucas, and Dustin. Like all of those people are affected by Joyce's death.
I mean, the same thing happens if you kill. It's weird, but if you kill Mike, you get the same thing though. I mean, unfortunately, Liam left a good chunk of what we were talking about.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I mean, it's like if you kill Mike, it's like that hits all the boys. It hits 11. It hits Nancy. It hits Steve. Yeah. It hits Jonathan, because now it's like, oh, my brother's crush is now dead. I don't really think it hits Nancy. I mean, not Nancy. Like what's her name?
Sam. Max.
No, not Max. Max.
Who the heck is Sam?
Max isn't waking up.
The friend.
Joyce. It doesn't really do anything with Joyce, and it does a little bit for Hopper, I think.
Because they had that little connection at the end.
Exactly, but like I feel like if you do that, that's how you get the biggest impact.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Or you just kill everybody. Like I don't care. Maybe that's what it is.
Vecna wins.
Yeah, maybe Vecna just wins.
Because that's kind of reality, right?
Yeah.
The bad guy always wins.
Yeah.
No matter what we do.
What happens is it's a big long play, kind of like How I Met Your Mother, and like everything like, we go through, and then Vecna wins, and then it flashes back to the 4 young kids again in season 1 being like, man, all right, well, Vecna won, guys, sorry you all lost. And like it was just been a long play, like this is all big one D&D session.
I actually really like that.
Yeah, I've actually thought about that too.
Yeah, the only problem is, and this is real, this is not me making up a story, Brittany and I went to go see, was it the last Twilight movie, right? It was Chasing Bad or whatever it was called. I don't remember what it was called. It was
Breaking Dawn.
Breaking Dawn. Thank you. I'm sorry. I really couldn't remember what it was called, but I knew if I got close enough, you'd know which one I was referring to.
I was like, Breaking Bad? That's
Breaking Bad. No. So Breaking Dawn, the second part where they do, you've seen it, Josh. I know you've seen it. You're a Spike Lee Twilight vampire.
Bro, I love Renesmee. She's the best.
Of course you do. Yeah. You're waiting for her to turn 18, you weird creepo. But
I'm waiting. I'm not like the Wolf Boy.
She turned 18
like
in like the same movie.
This is true.
I'm not like Shark Boy. I'm not like, doing doe eyes at, like a infant.
This is true. We recently found out that Taylor Lautner is married to or engaged to a woman named Taylor. So like he hasn't just dated Taylor Swift. This is now another Taylor. But anyways, no, like when they did the whole giant epic battle scene and then it zipped back to freaking Bob Pixie Cut's brain, and like you realize like she just projected it into the main like Voltaire vampire. And I'm in the theater, I go, bullshit, so loud, and people chuckled, and I was like,
he could not keep that in.
I could not. I was so floored.
He didn't read the book, so he had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know it was
coming. What the heck was going on?
Yeah, but I think in this regard, I actually would really like that if the whole time it was just a huge long D&D session.
We would appreciate that, and maybe some other like people, but I feel like the collective would be very pissed
like,
off.
Yeah.
I think the real nerds and geeks, we would love that.
Yes.
But like the just Netflix people would be like, no, what happened here? That doesn't make any sense. And it would get that Game of Thrones.
But I
thing.
kind
They
of
would
like
hate that.
But I want that, right? Like now that you've said it, now I want that because I want it to only make sense to the people that this show was written for.
Yeah.
Like it should make sense to the outsiders, the outcasts, the people that were like, the D&D, the magic cards, the kids that never really let go of their imagination, the kids that continued to foster and grow that and build that, the ones that didn't just try to grow up too fast. I like that. I kind of like that if it rolled like 11 never existed, like that was just Mike's mage. You know what I mean? Like this was just a character that was created on the game board. Like I love that.
And then the numbers are just because of the dice.
The dice, yeah, like all the numbers, all the kids, like everything pulls back to just this.
Dang.
Dude, you may have cracked the code for how you make this.
And now when it doesn't end that way, we're all going to be upset.
I'm going to be pissed.
Oh yeah, it's going to be very upsetting when they're like, no, big
Everybody's
explosions.
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Vecna dies.
Yeah.
But Max is back.
Yeah, Max is back. Oh, Jesus.
It's just all one big like Critical Role episode.
Dude.
And then it's just the Kate Bush song playing
over
and over.
For the credits, like as the credits are rolling, like it's not even the whole song, it's just one section. Plays
Like,
running up the hill,
That's a
like just
great
over
song,
and over.
and I loved it, but freaking social media has ruined that song so bad.
Yeah.
Like I felt like if I was Max listening to that song, I'd be like, taking off the headphones.
Just
That's
kill
gonna
me.
take me now.
just kill me.
I mean, it's one of those too. It's like that's your favorite song, which is fine. Everyone can have your favorite song. But if you're listening to that same song nonstop for what, 4 episodos?
Yeah.
Like you're that's not your favorite
Not
song
your favorite anymore.
And Vecna's like just like
Yep.
slipping in and be like, I'm gonna get you,
Yeah, because it just becomes background noise at that point. Like
Yeah.
you don't tune into it. It's just a humming sound.
Yeah, it doesn't
and
have
it
the
doesn't
meaning.
pull you out anymore.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't work.
Yeah, 100%. Like if I'm listening to Killer Queen like on repeat for 46 hours or whatever she said that tape length was, I'm doing
you're
Vecna's.
saying Vecna,
Dude, I'm not even letting him
You're
do
gonna
it.
do
I'm
the
doing it
job.
myself. I'm just gonna do the job.
strangle
Like-
yourself with your headphones.
There was some stuff in there that didn't make any sense. Like when okay, so they're having a fight, right? Like with Lucas and I don't know what that guy's name is. QB1, like basketball boy. Jock man.
I think it's Jason.
Jason. That sounds. We'll call him
It
Chad.
sounds right.
We'll call him
Okay,
Chad.
Chad.
So when
Chad.
he's fighting Chad, and like everybody's being like on the upside down, they're being choked, like with vines and everything. I'm like,
Oh.
y'all are dead. Like,
Yes.
like, you
We
guys
said
are
that
dead.
too. So like this has been 1 minute too long. I'm pretty sure you only need a minute. But
Yeah, I'm like, you all of you guys dead, like, because that's a long fight scene too. It's a very long drawn out fight between the two of them, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, and it does go classic anime where main character, like, are the character that you like is like, oh no, I'm gonna look down, I'm gonna see girl, I'm gonna get big boost of strength even though he's been beat. It's like wrestling, it's like when you have a wrestler and they're getting the crap beat out of them, and then they do that Hulk Hogan Hulkamania thing, and they're like, and they just get like this new round of energy. And I was like, Lucas, I'm sorry, bro. The Chad should have gone and shot you. Like when you're down, it's like you don't get like this big thing of strength. It's like that's not how real world work.
definitely
Like
not.
it was definitely a wrestling type of thing, or like I said, like an anime type of thing. Like he looks down, sees Max, and is like, strength, like I'm gonna go Super Saiyan now, and then he beats him up. And I was like, what the heck is this? This is dumb.
No, that's basically how reality works. That's how
well,
real life works.
it can sometimes. It's like that woman lifting the car or whatever. Because
Lucas
it's like,
is not a mom. That only works for women, right? So, but you you also think about it though, is like there's so many like just close calls, like for a lot of those the main characters. like just in fights and whatnot in general. It's just like these kids are very violent children.
Very violent children. But
So it totally makes sense when they go to the Upside Down and they're like slaying dogs and demobats and all this stuff. And you're like, well, yeah, they've been kind of conditioned throughout these, but then they still struggle fighting a bully.
Yeah.
because words hurt, Liam.
Yes, this is true. Although speaking of anime, I am still waiting for when Elle has the showdown with Vecna, and instead of only having like the drip of blood, she has the anime nosebleed where it's just like profusely exploding out of both nostrils. Like that's what I'm waiting for.
No, that's what happens when if anime taught us anything, that's what happened. That's what will happen on the beach episode where we find out that Mike actually has like a 12-pack, and then we have the nose explosions.
It's like a harem. Like it turns out his D&D group is actually his harem.
I mean, it almost is. There are 2 players that do like him, so I mean,
This is true.
Ooh, yeah. Love triangle there.
Yeah, and there, you know, now that we were watching season 2, there is that little like flirtatious scene in the gym where she's showing him her skateboarding tricks until Elle's like, "Soup."
Yeah, we already, watched it happen in that scene.
Yeah,
matter of time, man.
She's a teenager with hormones and powers.
Yeah,
not safe for anybody.
That's like every anime though. Teenager with hormones and powers.
No, well, no, because I rewatched the first season of Attack on Titan. I'm now on season 3, which is weird because Netflix has season. No, I like it. Netflix had season 1, but then I had to switch to Hulu to watch 2, 3, and 4. But yeah, I mean, same thing. It's hormonal teenagers with superpowers. You know what I mean? With a government that you can't trust, which is trying to suppress the people. Which Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Reality.
Reality.
Except
we don't have powers
every other week.
Well, the best part about Attack on Titan is like not everybody has the powers. There's like 5 people with them, and then everybody else is just like, there's Armin who's like, yeah, I'm just smart.
Yeah, I'm super smart, and if you put me in girls' clothes, people will assume I'm a girl, which happens. They do that. Yeah,
trap mentality, bro. It happens.
Yeah, no, 110%. But I think that's the thing, right? Where I think especially with Attack on Titan, I keep making the joke to Brittany where, oh, hey, Britt, they just introduced a new character and I like them. So they'll be dead by the time the episode's over. And like, you kind of feel like that's Stranger Things. Like, we're going to introduce a character. I was actually surprised Billy lasted 2 seasons. For some reason, I thought he only lasted 1.
Same.
But he lasts 2 and 3. So
yeah, we really got to get through season 2 because I'm not remembering anything on how it ended. Because where we're going right now, I'm like, wait, we met Dr. Owens here. Did not know that. Billy, okay, but how does he make it to the mall scene in season 3? Wait, what?
If I remember correctly, like, but
lost.
The beginning of season 3 is when he gets possessed.
Yes.
And then he's evil the whole.
All of the moms love him.
Yeah, because they're
he's like
jazzercising.
18 now.
Yeah, he just like Max just kind of stands up to Billy at the end of season 2 and it's like, I'm going to dance. And that's basic. And he's just like, darn, the kid stood up to me, must skulk away. And then he skulks away. And that's how he kind of just ends in season 2.
I'm going to go be a teenager and not care because they wouldn't.
Let me have no development.
Hits him or something. I don't know. I think he gets hit. I don't know. Somebody.
We'll let you know when we get there.
Yeah.
Should be soon.
Something will happen.
So I mean, I don't know how long you want the episode to go.
We've been going for about an hour-ish.
Okay. Cool. So I was going to say, like, I feel like we've kind of given predictions for like how we think season 5 will end. I'd like to kind of ask, and sorry to take over your hosting duties here. Were you happy with season 4? Like thinking about it and how it stacked up against the other 3 seasons, like when it ended, like, did you feel satisfied? Did you feel like there was development for characters? Did you feel like it furthered the story along? Like, where were you kind of sitting at the end of it?
You asking me?
I'm looking at you.
I actually am happy with season 4 because, like we've said before, we went into this thinking this was the end of the whole series. We thought this is where the show was going. And we were both kind of we're shocked, like if that's where it was going to end, but we were kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
With the fact that, the whole Indiana was all, grayed out and like there's huge explosions off in the distance. We're like, you know what? This isn't a horrible ending. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would be pissed if it did end that way, but you think about it. Why is there always a finite ending for things?
Yeah.
Like it could end this way. We could go into it thinking like, does 11 ever kill Vecna? Does Vecna take over the whole world?
Yeah.
I would have been okay if that's how they wanted to go with the show. They're kids, like we said. They're freaking kids.
Yeah.
If they couldn't save the world, it makes sense.
Or it's like even if you beat Vecna, the upside down still exists.
So,
the gates still exist. Like
yes.
There's always going to be something from the upside down coming. So
you have to learn how to close these gates.
Like you're fighting for perpetuity.
Yeah.
So you're like fighting forever, basically. What about you, Josh? Like, how did you kind of feel coming out of this?
I'm gonna watch season 5 because I've watched the other 4 seasons, and that's basically the only reason I'm still watching it. Like
begrudgingly,
invested.
You'll watch 5.
Just because I'm like, I now have to know how it ends, because like that's why I was excited for this, because I was like, it's ending. We had 2 really good seasons, a mediocre in my opinion 3rd season, and so I'm like, this is the last season. Awesome, I am ready for it. But this season to me was just a setup season, which I felt like season 3 was a setup season, and season 4 is also a setup season. And I feel like you shouldn't have 2 setup seasons in a row.
Yeah,
it's like doing Empire Strikes Back twice. It's like you don't need Empire Strikes Back twice. Like, just give me, the actual thing. So that's why I was disappointed in this season, mainly because I thought it was the last, and the fact that it wasn't the last disappointed me the most. And again, I felt like season 3 is a setup season. Season 4 is also a setup season. And there's still that part of me that's like, they're still just screwing with us. Season 5 is going to come out and they're going to be like, guess what? We actually have a movie, and the movie's the end. I'm waiting for that ball to drop. And then it'll be like, oh, another setup season. So at this point, I have zero hopes that I'm going to like the way it ends, unless it's just one D&D campaign. Then I'm going to love it.
Right.
But
or Will dying.
At this point, I'm kind of like, kill all the kids. Like, the only one that survives at the end is Steve. That's I'm okay with just that ending.
But he gets locked up because they think he killed all the rest of the kids. So it's like he survives, but in a lifetime of being in prison.
Steve wakes up and it's after Jonathan beat the crap out of him, and it was just all a dream the entire time.
A fever dream. No, I like your idea of a D&D ending. I really liked season 4. I thought that they had a lot of stakes. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of things happening, and I liked that it had to keep cutting. Like, oh, we're with Hopper in Russia, and Joyce and Murray trying to get to Hopper, and then here's Mike and Will and Jonathan and Argyle, on a road trip to try to get to.
I love that. I love that it was like a quest from all over, and they're all coming together. When does
everybody converge?
It wasn't until the flipping last episode.
No,
like
it was like a Guy Ritchie movie where like they're all doing different things, and then they finally meet at the end.
But
which I love. Well, which I love Guy Ritchie films, so I think that's why I really like that aspect of it. But I also like that they included tropes from 80s cinema. You know what I mean? Like, here's your road trip movie, here's your communist war movie, like Prison Break type movie, here's your like the Trouble in Town, where the religious sect,
Footloose movie.
Your Footloose movie. But then you also had like, here's your Silence of the Lambs style movie, like with Nancy and what's her friend, what's the
Barb?
No, the other friend,
Robin.
Like Nancy and Robin going to the psychiatric ward. Yeah, we haven't really talked about Robin. I love Robin. So I think they included a lot of like fun 80s tropes and still made it work in an overall narrative. So I did really like that. I agree with what you're saying. I think especially going into this thinking it was a final season, and being like, oh, they're going to break it up and here's 7 episodes, but then here's the last 2, but they're both weird. Over an hour long. Like they're basically 2 mini movies. I was like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to wrap it all up. And then they didn't. So I kind of felt like it was.
And then they realized we don't know, we can't end this with this amount of time.
It's too much.
So I think they were like, Netflix, we need that 5th season after all. I don't think there was going to be.
And Netflix was like, oh no, we have to throw more money at Stranger Things. Drag.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I guess we'll have to take some money from that next Ryan Reynolds project, and we're gonna have to put it into Stranger Things instead. So.
Oh, not Red 2.
Yeah.
That's their bread and butter is Stranger Things. Like once this is done, bye-bye. Netflix.
Well, that's why they've got that spin-off going. Like there's that spin-off, and it's like, all right, what's the spin-off gonna be?
Right. It won't be as good, but
it won't be as good. No.
Definitely.
But I feel like that's I feel like that's the catch with all the streaming services, right? They want to have the one big hit to have you keep coming back, but then they need enough smaller hits in between to keep you entertained and staying with it until the big one comes back. Right? Like we had gotten Paramount Plus, so I could watch Europa League games. It's soccer stuff, not important.
You should watch the new Star Trek Strange New World. It's actually very good. It's not Star Trek-y. It's good. It's good.
Is it better than the other stuff you had me watch?
Yes. Honestly, this is to me, this is the best Star Trek that we've had in the last 20 years. Like it's just
and
good.
It's on Paramount Plus.
It's on Paramount Plus.
Well, we canceled the subscription. We have it for this month though. So this is the last month we have it.
Well, if you watch the first couple episodes, you'll know if you'll like it or not.
Yeah.
Because it's have you ever seen Hell on Wheels? Or know of Hell on Wheels?
I know of it, but I haven't watched it.
It's the main character from Hell on Wheels is the captain for this one, Anson Mount. So he's phenomenal. So
nice. So I watched those. I watched the for the games, and then I watched Halo, the Halo TV series.
Did you finish Halo?
I did. Yeah, I watched the whole series. I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it. I think but I went into it knowing it wasn't going to be the same story from the video game. Like I went into it knowing, and that's the problem for a lot of people. It was
going to be the books version of everything. Yeah. So that's why I was like, cool. If they're actually going to do the books, I am all for it. And then I watched that first episode, and I'm like, fuck is this?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Well, I mean, you had to go into it understanding it's not going to be the game. It's not going to be Reach, like the book series and whatnot. And it's not going to be Master Chief's voice. So as long as you go into it being okay, I understand these things, then you'll like the series. But if you go into it with these expectations, you probably won't enjoy it.
So it was based on.
Yeah. Like almost like alternate universe of the Halo series. So I actually really liked it.
I kind of wish our characters that wear helmets all the time, that never take their helmets off, keep their helmets on.
Agreed. Agreed.
Because you're disappointed when they do.
When Carl Urban did Dredd and he didn't take the helmet off the entire time, I was like, that's why this movie's so good.
Yeah.
That and the movie's just phenomenal. But
but I mean, that was my complaint with Mandalorian. Is that they kept taking his freaking helmet off. And I'm like, one of the rules is don't take your helmet off. Stop taking your helmet off.
The first time they take his helmet off, I was like, and then they just continued after that. And I'm just like, put your freaking helmet back on. The bucket needs to stay on your head, bro. You could get shot.
And you still keep it on. Come on.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of the thing with certain series, whether it's Halo, whether it's Stranger Things. I mean, Brittany and I are really into Peaky Blinders, which is also on Netflix. Mm-hmm. You need to have enough of those shows to kind of keep you invested in the series, in the streaming service. Because you look at something like Amazon Prime, we don't have that one. And there hasn't been a show, even The Boys, that has looked good enough to warrant paying for another series, another streaming service just to get that series. And the movie